Libra, if this video found you right now, pause for a second, because something in your life has quietly shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, but deep enough that you can't ignore it anymore. You've outgrown something, a version of yourself, a role you kept playing, a weight you carried longer than you should have. And here's the truth most people won't say to you. You're not waiting for your moment anymore. You're standing inside it. This is the week you stop shrinking, the week you realize you don't need permission, the week your energy feels different, calmer, clearer, stronger. If you feel that in your chest right now, that's not random. Stay with me, listen all the way through. And if this speaks to you, let me know in the comments. And trust yourself enough to subscribe, because what's unfolding next for you, Libra, is bigger than you think. Libra, this week feels different, doesn't it? Not because something loud happened, but because something inside you finally settled into place. It is that quiet knowing, that steady breath, that moment where you realize you are no longer standing on the edge of your life. You are standing in the center of it. For so long, you were preparing, observing, waiting for the right sign, the right timing, the right version of yourself to arrive. But here is what you may not have noticed yet. The waiting ended before you did. Between December 23rd and 29th, something irreversible begins to move, not outside of you, through you. You may feel it when you wake up, that subtle sense that your choices matter more now, that your words land differently, that when you step into a room, the energy adjusts. This is not pressure, this is presence. You are not being pushed forward, you are being pulled into alignment with who you already became. And I want you to hear this clearly, Libra. This moment did not arrive by accident. Every release you went through, every version of yourself you had to outgrow, every time you chose the harder truth over the easier comfort, that was not wasted time. That was preparation you did not even realize you were completing. You are no longer rehearsing your life. You are participating in it. There is a quiet authority returning to you now, not the kind that needs validation, the kind that feels natural, calm, unshakable. You may notice you are less reactive, less eager to explain, less willing to shrink just to keep the peace. That is not distance. That is self-respect finding its voice. And as you step into this center space, something else happens. Your intuition sharpens. Your decisions become cleaner. You stop asking everyone else what they think because deep down, you already know. This is what it feels like when destiny stops circling and starts landing. Not dramatically, but deliberately. If you are listening to this, and feeling a quiet yes in your body, that warmth in your chest, that steady sense of rightness, that is your confirmation. You are not early. You are not late. You are exactly where your life needs you to be. And as this moment settles in, as you begin to stand more firmly in who you are now, something even deeper starts to unfold. Because stepping into your moment is not just about taking your place in the world. It is also about recognizing what can no longer come with you. And that is where the story gently continues. Libra, there is a moment that happens quietly, so quietly that most people miss it. It is not a breakthrough you announce. It is not a realization you post about. It is the instant you notice that something inside you no longer reacts the same way. You hear words that once would have cut deep, and they pass through you without leaving a mark. You face a situation that used to pull you into explanation. And this time, you stay silent. Not because you are afraid, but because you understand. That is awakening, not the dramatic kind, the honest kind. You have not become colder, you have become clearer. You are seeing people, situations, patterns, from a higher place now. Almost like you stepped back just enough to see the full picture instead of one painful detail. You may feel this when something tries to pull you into old dynamics. The old need to justify yourself. The old urge to prove your worth, the old habit of overextending just to be understood, and you pause. Not because you do not care, but because you finally care about yourself in a deeper way. This is the moment your awareness shifts from reaction to recognition. You recognize when something is not aligned. You recognize when silence says more than words. You recognize when walking away is not a loss, but an act of self-respect. And Libra, I want you to know something important. This calm you are feeling is not detachment, it is integration. You are no longer split between who you are and who you pretend to be. You are becoming whole. Your intuition is sharper now, not louder, clearer. You sense things before they happen. You feel the truth before it is spoken, and you trust that feeling enough to follow it without asking for permission. That is consciousness expanding. You are no longer living inside a story that was written by your past. You are reading the story from above, seeing how every chapter led here, even the painful ones, especially the painful ones. This awareness brings peace, but it also brings honesty. You begin to notice what drains you, what dulls your light, what requires you to shrink in order to stay connected. And instead of fighting it, instead of forcing it to work, you simply see it, clear, unfiltered, without emotional fog. That is growth. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering who you were before you learned to doubt yourself. And with this clarity comes a gentle but undeniable truth. Some things cannot move forward with you anymore. Not because they are bad, not because they failed, but because they belong to an older version of you, a version that no longer exists. As this awareness settles deeper into your body, as your breath becomes steadier, as your inner voice grows quieter and wiser, you may feel a subtle pull, a sense that something is ready to be released, not in anger, not in regret, but in gratitude. And that is where the next layer of your journey begins, Libra. There is a kind of release that does not look dramatic from the outside. No scene, no announcement, just a quiet exhale you did not realize you were holding. You may have felt it recently. That moment when something you once carried no longer feels heavy, not because it disappeared, but because you finally set it down. You have been shedding layers, not all at once, slowly, honestly, roles you played because you thought you had to, responsibilities you accepted because you did not want to disappoint, emotional weight that was never meant to stay with you this long. And what makes this different now is not the act of letting go. It is the absence of guilt while doing it. You are no longer apologizing to yourself for choosing peace. There was a time when you believed holding on meant loyalty, that endurance was proof of love, that sacrifice was strength. But something in you has matured, softened, clarified. You understand now that staying connected to what diminishes you is not kindness, it is neglect. And so, you began to loosen your grip, not angrily, not bitterly, but with gratitude for what taught you who you are. That is real growth, Libra. You did not walk away carrying resentment. You walked forward carrying wisdom. You learned what drains your spirit. You learned what asks you to shrink. You learned which connections require you to abandon yourself just to keep the peace. And instead of hardening your heart, you refined it. This is the kind of shedding that leaves you lighter without leaving you empty. You may notice now how your energy protects itself, how you instinctively step back from conversations that spiral, how you no longer rush to fix what is not yours to fix. That is not detachment, that is discernment. There is a grace to the way you are releasing the past. You are not erasing it, you are honoring it by refusing to repeat it. And Libra, I want you to hear this clearly. Letting go does not mean you failed. It means you listened. You listened to your body when it grew tired. You listened to your intuition when it whispered that something was complete. You listened to your soul when it asked for room to breathe. This is not weakness. This is adulthood of the spirit. There is a tenderness in you now that feels stronger than force ever did. A calm that does not need explanation. A boundary that does not need defense. You are no longer carrying what shaped you. You are carrying what sustains you. And as this shedding continues, you may feel moments of emptiness, not loss. Space, where something new can finally arrive. Because when you release what does not belong, you do not walk away with nothing. You walk forward with clarity, with self-respect, with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you chose yourself without closing your heart. Take a breath here. Notice how much lighter you feel. And as this lighter version of you keeps moving, something else begins to shift around you. Not because you are chasing it, but because you are finally standing in a place that can receive it. And that is where the story gently continues. Libra, as you keep moving forward, something subtle begins to happen around you. It feels like the air is changing, cleaner, lighter, almost like the space you occupy is finally catching up to who you have become. This is the part of the journey that does not get talked about much, because it is quiet and honest and deeply personal. There is a form of darkness you have been standing near for a long time. Not always obvious. Sometimes it looked like loyalty. Sometimes it wore the mask of responsibility. Sometimes it sounded like a voice telling you to endure just a little longer. But something in you no longer agrees. You are not angry about it, you are awake to it. You see now that certain situations were never meant to last. Certain patterns were never meant to be normalized. Certain connections were built on versions of you that no longer exist. And for the first time, you are not negotiating with that truth. You are choosing clarity over comfort, integrity over habit, peace over explanation. This is what cleansing actually feels like. Not dramatic, but decisive. You may notice how quickly your body responds now, how tension shows up the moment something feels off, how your energy pulls back without needing a reason anyone else understands. That is wisdom living in your nervous system. You are no longer available for what drains you, not because you are hardened, but because you are aligned. There is a calm firmness in you now, a quiet no that does not need to be justified, a boundary that feels natural instead of defensive. And Libra, I want you to understand this part clearly. You are not rejecting the past, you are correcting the direction. Some things should never have taken up as much space in your life as they did. Some compromises were never meant to be permanent. Some darkness was never yours to carry. Seeing that does not make you cold, it makes you responsible to your own light. As you step away from what no longer belongs, you may feel moments of grief, not for what was good, but for how long you stayed when your spirit was asking you to leave. Be gentle with yourself there. Awareness does not arrive early. It arrives exactly when you are strong enough to act on it. And here is the part you may not expect. You are not alone in this decision. The universe responds when alignment happens, not with noise, but with support. You may notice obstacles quietly dissolving. People revealing their true nature without you having to ask. Doors closing without resistance. This is not loss. This is protection. Your energy is being cleared for something more honest, more reciprocal, more nourishing. You are learning that saying no to what is wrong is also saying yes to what is right. That walking away from distortion makes room for truth. That honoring your values creates a life that can actually hold you. Take a breath here. Feel how clean this moment feels, how unburdened, how real. And as this clearing completes, as the last traces of what no longer belongs fall away, something else begins to rise within you. Not loudly, not forcefully, but steadily. A sense of authority, a knowing that you are ready to stand fully in your place. And that is where the next movement of your story quietly begins. Libra. Once the clearing finishes, something steady settles into your body. Not excitement, not adrenaline, authority. It does not announce itself. It arrives quietly, like a spine straightening on its own. You begin to notice it in small moments, when you no longer wait for the room to decide how you should feel, when your yes feels grounded, and your no feels complete. This is power, not the kind that dominates, the kind that anchors. You are no longer asking life where you belong. You are standing where you belong and letting life respond. There was a time when you softened yourself to be understood, when you hesitated before choosing what felt true, when you looked outward for confirmation before trusting your own inner knowing. That time has passed. You feel it now. That quiet confidence that does not rush. That clarity that does not second-guess itself. You are not moving faster. You are moving with intention. Stepping into power does not mean becoming louder. It means becoming precise. You speak when it matters. You act when it aligns. You walk away when something asks you to betray yourself. And Libra, the most important shift is this. You no longer wait for permission. Not from people. Not from timing. Not from fear. You trust the signal inside you that says now. This is what leadership feels like at the soul level, not control, direction. You guide your own energy first, your time, your attention, your emotional availability. And because of that, others begin to feel your presence differently. Not because you demand respect, but because you embody it. There is a grounded calm in you now that makes people pause. That makes conversations slow down. That makes your words carry weight without effort. You are no longer reacting to life. You are responding to it, choosing instead of chasing, deciding instead of defending. This power does not separate you from others. It actually brings you closer to what is real. Because when you stand fully in your values, the right paths reveal themselves naturally. The right people recognize you without explanation. The right opportunities meet you halfway. You are not proving your worth anymore. You are expressing it through alignment. And with this shift comes responsibility, not burden, ownership. ownership of your choices, your direction, your future. You understand now that your life responds to the standards you set within yourself, that what you tolerate shapes what stays, that what you choose consistently becomes your reality. This is not pressure. This is freedom with depth. Take a moment here. Feel how stable this version of you feels, how centered, how present. You did not become someone else. You became more yourself. And as you stand in this place of quiet authority, something subtle begins to happen around you. The world starts to acknowledge what you already know. Doors open without force. Recognition arrives without pursuit. Because power, when it is lived honestly, does not need to be announced. It is felt. And as this new way of being continues to root itself in your life, the next layer begins to unfold. A reflection, a response, a recognition from the outside world that mirrors the shift you made within. And that is where the story gently moves next. Libra, when you stand fully in yourself, something interesting begins to happen around you. Not because you are trying to be seen, but because you no longer hide. There is a quiet recognition that moves toward you now. It does not rush. It does not interrupt. It simply arrives. You may notice it in subtle ways. A message that lands at the right time. A conversation that suddenly shifts tone. A door that opens without you pushing on it. This is not luck. This is alignment becoming visible. You have already done the inner work. Now the outer world begins to respond. Your effort, your consistency, your presence, they are being noticed. Not by everyone, but by the right people. There is a difference. You may feel others leaning in when you speak, listening more closely, trusting your perspective without you having to explain it. This is what happens when you stop trying to impress and start simply being honest. Your energy speaks before your words do. And Libra, this recognition does not inflate you. It steadies you. Because you know this visibility was earned quietly, through integrity, through restraint, through choosing what was right instead of what was easy. You are not chasing attention anymore. You are attracting resonance. There is something deeply magnetic about a person who knows who they are. Not loudly, but calmly. You may feel people drawn to your company now, wanting to spend time with you, wanting your insight, wanting your presence, not because you perform, but because you feel real. Your light does not strain itself. It does not compete. It does not prove. It simply exists, and that is why it is seen. This is an important moment to remember who you are becoming, not someone who needs applause, but someone whose work speaks quietly and clearly. Recognition does not always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it comes as respect, as trust, as being chosen without having to ask. Let yourself receive that. You are allowed to be acknowledged without shrinking. You are allowed to accept praise without deflecting it. You are allowed to stand in the results of your growth. This is not ego. This is ownership. And there is something else happening beneath the surface. As you are recognized, you are also refining your circle. Not everyone who notices you deserves access to you. You are learning the difference between being admired and being aligned, between attention and connection. And you choose carefully now. Because your time matters, your energy matters, your life matters. You are no longer available for spaces that drain your light, even if they applaud it. You are drawn toward environments that nourish you, even if they are quieter. This is elevation with discernment. Your light is stronger now because it is grounded, rooted in values, anchored in truth. And as this recognition settles in, something deeper begins to stir. A desire not just to be seen, but to be met, to connect, to share, to build something meaningful with those who truly recognize you. This is where acknowledgement becomes invitation, not to perform, but to belong. And as you sense that invitation forming, as the world reflects back the shift you made inside yourself, the story continues to soften and deepen. Because recognition is not the destination. It is the signal that you are ready for what comes next. Libra. As recognition settles, something softer begins to take shape. Not outside of you first, inside. You may feel it as a gentle pull toward connection, not urgency, not longing. Just a quiet awareness that you are no longer meant to walk alone in the same way. There is a different quality to the way people approach you now. More patience, more intention, less demand. Someone may want to spend more time near you, not because they need something from you, but because your presence feels grounding, steady, safe. And what is important here, Libra, is how you respond. You are not rushing toward anyone. You are not rearranging your life to be chosen. You are allowing connection to come to you at the pace it can be sustained. This is new. In the past, you may have overextended, met others halfway even when they stood still, adjusted your rhythm to keep harmony alive. But you are not doing that anymore. Now, you remain where you are, centered, rooted, and you observe who is willing to meet you there. This is what mature connection feels like, not intensity, consistency. You may notice conversations going deeper without effort. Silence is feeling comfortable instead of awkward. Time slowing down when you are with the right person. That is not chemistry alone. That is alignment. And Libra, this is not limited to romance. This energy touches friendships, partnerships, even family dynamics. Any relationship that continues now does so because it can respect your pace, your boundaries, your life. You are no longer sacrificing your inner balance to maintain connection. You are inviting connection that honors it. And the right ones understand this instinctively. They do not rush you. They do not pressure you. They do not ask you to choose between yourself and them. They wait. They listen. They show up consistently. This is the kind of union that grows slowly and lasts. You may feel a sense of relief realizing this. That connection no longer requires self-abandonment. That closeness can exist without collapse. That love does not have to cost you your peace. This is not guardedness. It is discernment shaped by experience. You are allowing yourself to be met, not managed, seen, not consumed. And in doing so, you create space for something real to take form. There is a softness in you now that is strong, a warmth that does not burn itself out, a generosity that does not overgive. You are present, available, but no longer negotiable. And Libra, this shift changes everything. Because when you stop chasing connection, connection starts recognizing you. When you stop proving your worth, others feel invited to rise to it. You are not closing your heart, you are opening it responsibly. And this is where connection becomes something sacred, something mutual, something that can grow without urgency. As this energy settles, as the right people begin to find their way closer, another realization quietly forms. Connection is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a new way of living, one where peace and fulfillment coexist, one where success does not cost your soul, one where joy feels sustainable. And as you stand in this balanced space, something brighter starts to unfold. Not just connection, but a new way of being happy. And that is where the story gently carries you next. Libra, there is a quiet warmth settling into your life now. Not excitement that spikes and fades, but a steady light that stays with you when the noise falls away. You may notice it in simple moments, the way your mornings feel calmer, the way your decisions come without inner debate, the way your body relaxes when you think about what comes next. This is happiness changing shape, not the kind that depends on approval, not the kind that rushes you toward the next goal, but the kind that grows roots. You are stepping into a new way of living, one where peace and progress are no longer opposites, one where success does not demand self-sacrifice, one where your values guide your pace. You no longer live in survival mode, you live in alignment, and that changes everything. You begin to measure your days differently, not by how much you accomplished, but by how present you felt, how honest you were with yourself, how much space you allowed for what truly matters. This is freedom with structure, joy with boundaries, ambition with soul. You may find yourself choosing quality over quantity now, depth over noise, meaning over momentum. This is not slowing down. This is moving forward with intention. Your happiness feels earned, not because you struggled for it, but because you listened when it asked for a different direction. You have learned how to stand without bracing yourself, how to rest without guilt, how to trust your inner balance even when the world pulls for more. And Libra, this is what maturity of the spirit looks like. You do not abandon your dreams. You integrate them into a life that can hold them. You do not dim your light. You place it where it can actually illuminate. You do not rush toward the future. You allow it to meet you where you are grounded. This is a new era for you. Not because everything outside suddenly changed, but because you did. You are living from your center now. Your decisions feel clean. Your relationships feel honest. Your goals feel aligned with who you have become. And there is something deeply powerful about that. Because when you stop surviving, you begin to lead, not by force, by example. Your life becomes a quiet invitation to others, to slow down, to listen, to choose themselves without closing their hearts. This is the kind of happiness that lasts, not because it is perfect, but because it is real. Take a moment here. Feel how far you have come. Feel the steadiness in your breath. Feel the confidence that does not need to speak. You are not becoming someone new. You are finally living as yourself. And as this new way of being settles into your days, you may sense that this story does not end here. It expands into choices you have not made yet, into connections that are still forming, into opportunities that will meet you because you are ready to receive them. Stay present. Trust your balance. And if this journey resonates with you, stay close. Because what you are building now, Libra, is not a moment. It is a life. Libra. Before you go, take one more breath with me. Feel how different you are from the person who pressed play at the beginning of this message. Calmer, clearer, more rooted in yourself. That is not imagination. That is alignment. You did not stumble into this moment. You earned it by choosing truth over comfort, balance over noise, and self-respect over fear. And even if no one else sees the full journey you walked, your soul does. If something in this message touched you, surprised you, or made you quietly nod and think yes, that's me. Let me know in the comments. Your words help this space stay real. They help other Libras feel less alone. If this brought you a sense of peace or strength or clarity, take a second to like the video. It tells the algorithm, but more importantly, it tells yourself, I'm choosing what supports me. And if you feel called to stay on this path, to keep receiving messages meant for where you are, right now subscribe, and trust that you didn't find this channel by accident. This is not the end of your story. It's a turning point. The journey continues. Another message is already forming, and when it arrives, it will meet you right where you are. Until then, Libra, trust your balance, honor your light, and remember you are exactly where you're meant to be.